Wish you all a very happy Women's Equality Day. Many might wonder if there is a presence of such a day called Women's Equality Day because this day is not celebrated throughout the world, but it is just celebrated in the United States. Taking you back to a bit of history, in 1920, the 19th US Constitutional Amendment gave the women in USA the right to vote, and this day was considered as a milestone in the journey or in the history of women empowerment. I felt that regardless of the geography, irrespective of the women from which part of the world got empowered, as a member of a civil society, we also must remember and reminisce this journey or this history of the long struggle of women empowerment until this day. So I thought in this video, I'll pull some of my friends to tell you what women equality and gender equality means to them, what is their view on the existing problems, what are the solutions, and how they view this issue as a whole in the society. So now let's get into the video.
Hi everyone, hope you're having a great day.
Hi everyone.
When the gender equality.
Hello.
Hi guys, my name is Vaishnavi and I'm a second year law student.
Hello everybody.
I would just like to take this opportunity to thank anybody ever who's been a part of or led any equality movement ever. I stand before you here today and I want to ask you, do you think you are a feminist? If not, do you want to be part of a movement which aims to bring equality to this society? If your answer is yes, I'm afraid, or maybe not, that you are a feminist. Feminism has been associated to a lot of negative things lately, often due to misconceptions. There are women who are afraid to be associated with feminism. It is considered to be a negative word, it's considered to be an alien word, it's considered to be too aggressive, it's considered to be anti-men. And it really is not. Feminism is a movement which aims to bring equal social, political and economic rights to both men and women. It is a movement which aims to restore balance to the society. So come, be a part of the movement. Be a part of the change.
At this moment, I would like to present equality in the perspective of equality at the home front, because equality to me starts at home. Firstly, equality is parents treating their kids equally in the sense that equal opportunities are given to them when it comes to them following their dreams or pursuing their goals, which does not reason based on their gender. And secondly, equality means equal responsibility taken up by the heads of the family when it comes to running the family. And especially in this pandemic situation, when the heads of the families are under the same roof, it is necessary that both or all the genders take up equal responsibility when it comes to running the family, may it be doing the household chores or taking care of their kids. So what I believe is equality starts at home, and if equality starts at home, the world we step out to could be a much better place. Thank you.
So this day, 100 years back, the 19th Amendment to the US Constitution was made, 1920, so which basically gave women the right to vote. And so until then, they weren't given a political identity. They were not allowed to select their leaders or run for office. So after a lot of struggle and agitation and protest, this amendment came into force. A century after the amendment now, we can see women outdo themselves or make a mark in all spheres of life. And it almost all country recognizes the legal right to vote. I think Women Equality Day is not just about voting. All the glory of achieving this political identity doesn't change the fact that even now, women have to fight for basic individualistic rights at their home or workplace. And it's a long road ahead, but we aren't quitting until we are satisfied that we belong in a place that we deserve to be in. And so this day, let's be thankful for how far we've come as a human race, and it's a long road ahead. So happy Women Equality Day.
Gender equality in simple terms is basically when people of all genders are given equal rights, responsibilities and opportunities. As a woman living in the 21st century, I can still see a lot of discrimination based on gender, especially in workplaces. There is an assumption that women can't really take up, mental pressure, they'll get mentally unstable due to their work life, they have to take maternity leave, and because of all of these, they don't get promoted as much as men get to. And their salary is very, very less compared to a male worker. For example, the male professional footballers get 3 times more paid than a female professional footballer. And even before a woman gets a job, there is so much pressure in her head, especially in Indian families, where they're like, oh, you can't take this job, you can't work here, you can't work at this time, you can't work in the night. Talking about working in the night, another obstacle that a woman faces is sexual harassment. So we can clearly see that there is a discrimination in their professional life, in their social life, and even in their families. So I really hope that this changes and all genders are given equal rights, opportunities and responsibilities.
And I'm here to tell you that being a woman is tough. Despite being part of a 21st century modern and civilized society, men and women still do not get equal opportunities to jobs, to educational opportunities and even healthcare facilities, which is truly a concerning matter. This just because of their gender, a lot of girls are not allowed to go to school and are forced to drop out at very young ages. Even at workspaces, women are constantly prone to harassment, lower pay and also discrimination. And this is something that is causing huge concerns all over the world. Our society has a very, very strong and deep-rooted patriarchal base, which has to be weeded out. But this is not going to happen overnight. Laws, legislations and even public efforts go a very long way in bringing about such a drastic and major change, which is much required. The recent Triple Talaq amendment proved to be a huge win for women, for Muslim women across the country. But that does not end our war. We still have a very, very, very long battle to fight. And for this, we need the cooperation of everyone, regardless of their age or regardless of their gender. Things as basic as teaching your children the importance of equality right from a very young age can go a long way in help building responsible and mature citizens that make tomorrow much better than today. We have a long battle to go, but together we can win this. And this year, I wish you all a very happy Women's Equality Day. Let's fight this together.
Hi. So to me, equality means having a level playing field. It means having the same rights. It means whatever right is a given to me doesn't seem like an aspiration to me.
I feel women empowerment and equality is not so a strange thing now. Like there are lots of debates, lots of speeches and lots of dramas and lots of movies and lots of things related to women empowerment and equality has been published, has been famous, etc. It goes on. And once when we speak about women empowerment, we just go back to our days where women lived confined to their houses and they were depending on their husband or brother or father for their economic well-being. And they're just confined to their houses and they don't move out of their houses and they're treated as slaves. But the situation is now has been changing and now the women are treated as the independent women. There are women who earn by themselves and they just look after their life by their own earning and they don't depend on the men for their earning. And in this situation, what's the need for us to talk about the equality and the empowerment now, about for the women? So, the answer is, like, women are empowering and women are getting equal to men. Like, women are very much vulnerable towards the family situations, right? Because the family economic situations, the family cultural situations, ratio of men who get affected by their economic situations or the vulnerability of men, the intensity of them are very much low as compared to women.
Or when gender equality or when bridging gender gaps is generally discussed, the feminist movement is very rightly so associated with the same. And I've heard, or a lot of times these days, I have noticed that people criticize the feminist movement and they criticize feminists across the world for taking the movement too far or going very overboard with it. And I very respectfully point out, very respectfully disagree with them. And I mean, the fact of the matter is that women are definitely not at much as a privileged situation or in a privileged place as much as men are, and we are not given opportunities as easily as men are. And I believe the men sometimes are just handed opportunities in a very silver platter, whereas women have to work twice as hard to achieve the same thing that a man could very reasonably do. Simple things like, say, education, or the access to education is very easily given to men across the world. And I believe that there is a long way to go in order to achieve gender equality, in order to bridge the gender gap that exists in our society. I am not saying that there is no denying that there is no progress that is being made. There's definitely, most definitely, there is progress that is being made, but there is still a long way to go. And I say this with utmost hope, and just utmost hope that one day we'll be able to live in a society, or we'll be able to live in a world where gender no longer defines who we are, and simply because we belong to a particular gender or a certain gender, we are not expected to behave or adhere to certain norms associated with that.
The past 1 month before, there was a news that lot of school girls in the lockdown period are pushed to marriage. This is because during the pandemic, parents don't get job, and their economic well-being is very much affected. So when a man comes and says, the groom comes and says, I will take care of your girl child, let me marry her, then what the parents would do? They just make their daughter get married to him. So what about her career? And what happens then? She might have just completed 12th, or she may be pursuing 12th, she may be attained the age of 18 years, and the marriage is legal. The marriage may be legal there. But what about her career then? So after completing her 12th, or she's just pursuing her 12th, she would be left with only a handful of opportunities for her, job opportunities for her. She may go for job for satisfying the financial needs of her family, but she will be available with only a handful of jobs. She would not be placed in the higher positions there. So this affects the women empowerment there. Even after passing these difficulties, if a woman has attained the higher position in life, or if the woman has got her dream job, where she places many harassments there, or many difficulties there, right? I don't mean that all women face the same, or all women have the same harassment. I don't want to mean that all men are bad. Men are really, really good. Because of them, women have come out of their houses and they have studied, and they are in the job now, and they come out of flying colors. There are some men who just view her as a body, they don't view her as a soul at all. They just consider her as a slave. There are many laws for that, which are favorable to women and children to protect them against these odds. But in real sense, only a few women come out and say, few affected women come out and say, I am very affected by this, I want justice from the court of law. Very few women, they say, this is what happened to me, and he's the person who did this. There are some women who feel ashamed to come into the court of law. This is because she feels that the society would consider as something odd. So what we have to do, what our lawmakers has to do, what the amendment has to be made is very, very confidential. Her name should not be revealed, her proceedings should not be made known to any other person in public, and the speedy justice must be ensured. Otherwise, the women's rights will be very much affected.
When people talk about feminism, they say that, or they talk badly about it. They say that we are the ones bringing in the gender divide and all men and women are equal. Yeah, they are, but unfortunately the gendered world that we live in does not allow me the privilege to look at it in that way, and I'm so glad that you're looking at it in that way, because that is what I'm aspiring to create for you. Because until I recognize that there is a difference, there is a problem, then I am never going to solve anything, because I don't think that is an issue to begin with. So it's great to dream, and I dream of that world where I don't have to define, where my gender doesn't define me and I can define it. I dream of that world where everyone can be who they want to be, however, and I'm going to say chill and love each other. I think the only way forward is by having difficult conversations. It's by making a change. It's by preventing harm. It's by creating an holistic atmosphere where people care for each other, people love for each other, and people will work towards the betterment of each other and not put down each other. That for me is the only way forward, and that's the future I'm looking towards.
Gender, I very hopefully say this, that one day we'll be able to live in a society where I can have healthy conversations and a healthy dialogue with anyone about gender role stereotypes, which I believe is the biggest cause for most of the issues that are prevalent related to gender equality in our country or across the world. So the thing is, gender role stereotypes is the reason where men, women or any other gender is expected to behave a certain way or adhere to certain norms, and which is why I think gender role stereotypes is the reason why there are so many issues that are prevalent in today's society. Things like the fact that women are not given access to education as much as men comes from the basic fact that men are expected to be the breadwinners of the family, expected to take care of their parents, expected to be the sole earning member of the family, and things like that. And even things like abuse, both sexual, verbal, emotional, any kind of abuse, all stems from the fact that men are just supposed to be macho, supposed to be masculine, whereas women are expected to be more timid and submissive and things like that, which result in a variety of issues where women are not given the same opportunities as men, and it even results in a lot of problems like women not given the same amount of salary in the workplace, the gender, like the pay gap between the genders. All of this I think stems from the basic fact that gender role stereotyping exists in today's world and in today's society, and I feel and I believe that once there is a very healthy dialogue and once we all accept that there is an issue like this and that we do live in a patriarchal system or a patriarchal society, which is what results in all these gender role stereotypes coming up, that we will be able to address this issue, and we'll definitely, I believe that we'll be living in a society where women are given as much as importance, and not just women. I feel that anyone is just accepted and loved and shown compassion for who they are as a person, and that gender or a particular sex does not define who we are, and it does not expect us to adhere to certain norms and certain societal pressures and things like that. And I really, with all hope, I stand here saying that one day we'll definitely be in a society where no one is defined by their gender. Everyone's just accepted for who they are, and they're defined by what they do and who they are as a person and their thought process. And a very, very, very happy Women Equality Day to everyone out there.
We also know about the Nirbhaya case which has happened, and she got justice. But how many years it took? Like how many days it took? How many months it took? Like the law must be in such a way that confidentiality of the proceedings and the time period must make her believe that she should not be ashamed of telling to the court of law that I am affected and he's the person who did it. Like she should not feel ashamed, and that's the main scenario there. Only then she would get justice, and the debates, the speeches, the movies, and the lots of dramas we get into, empowerment, like awareness programs about women empowerment and equality will get its fruitful success. I hope that day would come soon. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Shreya, a second-year journalism student. For eons now, women have been long brainwashed into thinking serving their family is their ultimate aim and purpose in life. If a woman forgoes this nature and makes a decision for herself, she is deemed arrogant, uncontrollable, and even described as bringing dishonor to her family. The walk towards women's equality need not at all times come from radicalist movements. Sometimes they need to start from home. As cliche as it sounds, the fight towards a greater cause like gender equality and the empowerment of women begin in our humble abodes, starting from parents giving both the genders equal amount of freedom and opportunities. Something as simple as setting coffee time for both son and daughters, parents set an example that they don't discriminate their kids. Women are also expected to give up their career after a childbirth. Of course, this has changed a lot in the past 15 to 20 years, but we still have a long way to go. The first step in achieving gender equality is to acknowledge that a problem exists. It may not be as bad as it was centuries ago, but it still exists. Where we lack in gender equality is when we reinforce stereotypes that women are not committed to work as men are, or that women are too emotional to become leaders, or that men are the breadwinners of the family and not women. Of course, they have all been true and wrong, but it should also be said that lack of awareness is a big reason behind this. Living in urban cities, we can easily complain women have equality, but we tend to forget women in rural India face harassment, inequalities, and other difficulties on a daily basis. People still prefer sons over daughters, child marriage is still rampant in villages, and the ongoing pandemic has only made the situation worse. Across India, 39.4% girls aged 15 to 18 drop out of school according to a recent report by the National Commission for Protection of Child Rights. Of the dropout age, 64.8% do so because they are forced to take on household chores. Others are simply not allowed to go to schools by their parents. To address this issue, it is very important that we realize that change begins in our home. Spreading awareness and teaching our fellow peers that both genders are capable of doing almost everything, and also correcting people and making them understand when they make an ill-informed comment on issues like women's equality, will definitely push for the cause. It is very important that I acknowledge things are changing. Men are actively taking part in supporting women and are also helping them realize their dreams. We still have a long way to go to achieve gender equality, but hopefully the next generation along with youths understand their importance and the role they can play in achieving gender equality. I hope we can all collectively come together to achieve this.
Happy Women Equality Day, and I really hope that this is like a progress or a baby step in the right front to ensure that there is gender equality that is achieved across the world.
Happy Women's Equality Day.
Happy Women's Equality Day.
Happy Women Equality Day.
Happy Women's Equality Day, everyone.
See you on the other side, and a very happy Women's Equality Day to all of you.